What is going on, everybody? It's the Frog from waiting for AEW Fight for the Fallen review for July 27, 2022, with 3 championships on the line. Also, the return of one Bryan Danielson. The JAS and BCC feud is far from over. Plus, Dante Martin versus Sammy Guevara and Sammy's first match since Blood and Guts. And oh, so much more. Let's talk about this all here. It's going to be a nice, short, sweet, to the point review. And we started off with Rush, El Toro Blanco, as they'd like to call him, versus Jon Moxley. This match was 2 guys going out there, 2 bulls going out there and smacking their heads together. And Rush, for the first half of this match, was dominating Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley bled within the first 3 minutes of the match, not that surprising. And Rush just beat the living shit out of him. Of course, the Moxley would eventually get back in control at some point too. And they went back and forth. Towards the end of the match, Jose gets on the apron as he was out there with Rush when Andrade comes out to try and help him win the match. The Lucha Bros chase him off. Obviously, it looks like we're getting Rush and the Lucha Bros in a tag team match, probably by Quake by the Lake, because that is the next thing coming up. And I believe they said 2 weeks' time is Quake by the Lake. So that's going to happen. And in the end, Jon Moxley retains the championship in one hell of a beatdown. So, yeah. Straight jack, like, Rush tried for a straight jack and power driver. Moxley was able to kick out. Misses the, bull, you mess with the bulls, you get the horns. Death Rider. They actually called it the Death Rider. Since we've had Forbidden Door, they've called the elevated DDT the Death Rider, like his, double underhook brainbuster, the Death Rider, which is what it is. Only for Rush to kick out. The champion wastes no time locking in the Bulldog choke and not making him tap out. He faded away, and that was that. The same way that Rush faded away here would be the same outcome, differently, but the same outcome the main event would have. After the match, out comes Jericho, Sammy, Tay, Anna Jay, and Angelo Parker. Matt Menard's missing. We didn't see him at all tonight. And Jake Hager's missing. We saw him later, but he was missing here. Jericho says it was an amazing match. You were on a roll, but not as much of a roll as the JAS. Daniel Garcia will kick Bryan Danielson's head in later tonight. He says Anna Jay called him for an opportunity, and he gave her one. And she's like, "You're damn right. I took that opportunity. I'm a new Anna Jay. Anna JAS. She claims that she's the sexiest and the toughest. And I'm not afraid to prove it." And she's like, she went from going, okay, this is not bad, to uber cringe. When she's like, I'll choke you out, and 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 you out. And it's like, God, don't do that. Please don't do that. You didn't need to go that completely crazy. And he says Eddie Kingston brutalized him last week, broke his nose, threw him in a spreader, that webbing. He had to be cut out. They showed this on their socials later in the week. Jericho getting cut out of this spider web. It looked absolutely disgusting. He got stretched off. And he says he will beat Moxley. He's demanding his title rematch from 2.5 years ago. And Quake at the Lake, which is in 2 weeks. Moxley says he hates Chris Jericho and he hates the sports entertainment bullshit they're doing here. He tells Jericho to shove the interim name up his ass, as he is the 2-time world champion. He says if Jericho wants to step in the ring with him, he needs to leave all the trash, all the bullshit, all the wizardry, everything alone. He doesn't want the wizard. He doesn't want any nickname of the week you're coming up with. He wants the guy that he used to tape trade and see on tapes back in the 90s. He will defend this against Chris Jericho against the last survivor of the Hart Dungeon, Lionheart, Chris Jericho. And that was the start of AEW tonight. Very good opening match. Rush, and I recommend watching Rush versus... I pretty much recommend watching this entire show. The women's match we'll get to in a bit. That was like the only down part of the show, but we'll talk about that. Then we go to commentary, and JR was on commentary for the entire show. I wonder why they decided to change this up, but it was Taz and Excalibur as well. And we get to the commentator's desk, and they have some championships on the table. Titles that everybody and their brother has been calling for and asking for and begging for pretty much since their inception. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trios Championships. I wish they'd call them 6-man, but whatever, trios works for me. These look fantastic. I was looking at championships that they were inspired by, and I get this feeling that they feel like WCW championships. They look like the WCW. I immediately thought WCW Gold, the WCW World Championship that they had in the mid '90s when Ric Flair took the big gold belt to WWF. They had to have a championship, and they came up with the WCW World Championship, which honestly I think they should have kept anyway, and just like let the big gold go back to wherever, even though the big gold is a great looking championship. But here you go, the Trios Championships. We will have a tournament next month, probably, most likely, with the winners being made, crowned at All Out. We have teams like the Blackpool Combat Club. We have teams like the House of Black, the Dark Order, Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, Young Bucks and Adam Page, the Undisputed Elite, which is Red Dragon and Adam Cole. That's 5 teams right there. Anyone else? There's other teams that can be shot up too. I mean, you could bring the boys in Dalton Castle in for this and have them be in this tournament because they're the reigning Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. And you could just have them be there as a shot for them to be able to be two double champions. I mean, that's fine. That's 6 teams right there. You just need 2 more. There's other ones too. You have the Jericho Appreciation Society with Jericho, Matt Menard, and Jericho, Sammy, and Hager, Matt Menard, Daniel Garcia, and Angelo Parker. You have 2 teams in the JAS. I'm very excited to see these. I'm glad to see this signifies Kenny Omega's coming back. This signifies right here that Kenny Omega will be back very, very soon. There ain't no way, no how, no sir that Tony Khan would even put these out there in the world if Kenny Omega's not back very, very soon. He said he was waiting for Kenny to come back to even do these championships. So, let me know what you think in the comment section below about the Trios Championships, because I am absolutely excited and you should be too. Going back onto the rest of the show, Dante Martin is backstage, says Sammy can't hack it on the roster anymore. And he's been taking a vacation while he's been working all the time, and he will be out there. And he knows Tay's going to be out there with Sammy, so he's going to have somebody with him, and it's going to be Sky Blue. Now, why Sky Blue? Well, Sky Blue is Dante Martin's girlfriend. Yes, that's right. Here's the thing. In the matches later on, they don't acknowledge the relationship. Even though midway through that match, we'll talk about that. A little something happens, but we'll talk about that. FTW Championship match. Danhausen challenges Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship. This match lasted about a minute. Danhausen ended up moving out of the way. Starks hits his neck into the turnbuckle, which of course remember last year how he fractured his neck on a botched move with Hangman Page, so he's got that. In the end, big spear 1, 2, 3, and Ricky Starks retains the championship, but he gets the microphone and he says, here's the deal. I still got more in the tank, so bring somebody else out here right now, and this time I'm serious. Well, I think everyone saw this coming with it being Danhausen as his opponent, that here comes Hook. So Hook makes his way down to the ring. They have fights. Hook unloads in the fast hands in the stomach and everything. Ricky plans to challenge her with a spear, then he goes for the Rochambeau. Unfortunately, that doesn't work as Hook reverses that into the Red Rum. He taps out, and Hook is the champion. He is the FTW champion. Now, harking back to a few weeks ago, Alexi Nair asked him about the possible championship in his future. Well, I saw a lot of people saying, put this title on Hook, have Hook go for this title. It's like, no, this dude hasn't even been in a ring for more than a year. It was a mistake for Jade Cargill to get a championship at her young age in wrestling. That title has been absolutely fucking irrelevant. But this title is perfectly made and perfectly suited for Hook. It's his dad's title. They mentioned how he would grow up seeing it on his the mantle in his family home, and it gives him something to have. After the match, they fist bump. Hook walks away. Ricky Starks stays in the ring. We go to commercial break. We come back. Tony Schiavone's in the ring with a dejected and upset Ricky Starks, who says it's okay with losing. He says he's given the title, and people said it was a noose. He turned it into a necktie. He made it the title. He brought it back to prominence and exceeded expectation. He says he deserves longer than 40 seconds of talk, and people tell him to be patient. But he believes his time was last year, last month. Hell no, his time is right now. It's not a string of bad luck, it's a string of bad timing. But him and Hobbs, and as soon as he said the word Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs with the biggest clothesline to the back of Ricky Starks' head, dropping him. This isn't like when they turned on Brian Cage, where Taz was in on it. Taz is on commentary and going, what the f is going on? He's beside himself, like, what the hell? He follows up with a big spine buster, leaving Starks laying, and he's got that mean mug. First thing, Ricky Starks outgrew the FTW championship months ago. It's about time he lost that. It's about time he moved on to the TNT title, which is with Wardlow right now, so that's not going to happen. I mean, he could go and challenge for the All-Atlantic Championship, which would be cool as well. He could always end up being in the world title picture eventually when all this stuff gets settled down. It's time for Starks to move up. The FTW title was holding him back. Somebody like Hook, who is young and is just going to go out there, he can have open challenges and just destroy everybody in his wake, from a Dante Martin, if you don't want him to, that's fine, to a John Silver, and Alex Reynolds, a 10, Evil Uno, all the Dark Order he could destroy if they wanted him to. Anybody else, Tony Nese, they can have him destroy Mark Sterling for the hell of it. This is great for Hook. I didn't see or expect Powerhouse Hobbs to turn on him just yet. But we'll see what happens. It looks like Hook's a babyface. Hook has been a babyface since day one. Ricky Starks is babyface, and it looks like Taz is going to be a babyface now. And what happens to Powerhouse Hobbs, which is kind of funny. This is all kind of funny because a couple days ago, somebody on social media posted the match, like Will Hobbs, like one of his first matches during the pandemic era against Orange Cassidy, which lasted 11 seconds. And so many people on that clip were fucking retarded, comparing, how could they let Hobbs lose to the comedy guy in 11 seconds? How do you build somebody like this? Get this through your fucking heads. Back when that match happened, Will Hobbs was not Powerhouse. Hell, the dude still had a fucking gut. Do you see Will Powerhouse Hobbs nowadays? That dude is jacked. Will Hobbs, back in the year 2021, I think it was, or 2020, whenever he made that match happen, the dude wasn't fucking signed. He was an extra. He was to come in and lose to the likes of an Orange Cassidy, even probably a Marco Stunt. He was out there to make everyone else look good. Having Orange Cassidy hit Orange Punch on a big dude like him in 11 seconds built up Orange Cassidy, built up the Orange Punch. Eventually, he did such a good job at what he was doing and did his job well. Tony Khan signed into a contract. Not too long after signing that contract, he joined Team Taz. After that, they became what they became, and now he's going off on his own. All the dumbass motherfucking idiots I saw just like, oh, how could you treat Powerhouse Hobbs like that? That wasn't Powerhouse Hobbs, you fucking morons. What you see today is Powerhouse Hobbs. Everybody goes through being jobbers. Everybody. Will Hobbs did it at one time in his career. He did it in AEW. Ricky Starks did it sometime wherever he was at. Julia Hart did it when she started. Anna Jay did it when she started. Every single person, all of your favorites, start out losing. Look at New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have a system. It's called the Young Lions. They don't win against established stars. You can think of Powerhouse Hobbs at that time when he came to AEW and had that match where he lost in 11 seconds to Orange Cassidy as being a young lion who goes out there and puts an established star over. He paid his dues, he took his time, and now where is he at? He just destroyed Ricky Starks. He's going to go on the monster run of his career, and maybe, just maybe, he's the one who beats Wardlow for the TNT title. Not at All Out, I'd say about Full Gear. Because it's going to be Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs at All Out. But full gear. Full gear. Look for full gear. That could be Powerhouse Hobbs versus Wardlow, TNT Championship, and Powerhouse Hobbs wins the TNT Championship. I didn't see this coming. For all we knew, they could have been building these two back up again and had Hobbs and Starks take on Swerve and the Glory one more time at All Out for the tag team titles. But no, they're going in a different direction. What that direction is going to be, I don't know. But man, just seeing when I saw that clip before I even read the dumb idiots, the dumb retards on this clip, I was like, man, just think where that guy has gone from being young Will Hobbs losing to Orange Cassidy in 11 seconds to being in one of the most high-profile, like so many high-profile matches of the last year. Fighting and going for the World Tag Team titles a couple times. Having some of the best matches in the Tag Team division in 2022 that don't involve FTR. Now we're going to have to see what happens next week. We'll probably hear from Powerhouse Hobbs next week and see why he laid out Ricky Starks and what his plans are next. Because in my opinion, it will be Ricky Starks versus Powerhouse Hobbs, probably at Quake by the Lake, and then they can stretch it out to All Out, get 2 matches out of this, maybe even 3 if they want to figure that out. And by the time we get to All Out, he's built up enough, he's tore up everything, and he takes on Wardlow. He beats Wardlow and takes the TNT title into Double or Nothing next year. And when we come back around to it, Ricky Starks at Double or Nothing 2023 beats Powerhouse Hobbs for the TNT Championship. How do you get there? What's going to be in between those? We'll have to just sit there for the ride and see what happens. They claim the backstage and they say they're talking out the trash on Friday, hinting at a music video coming out about the Gun Club, which will tell us what their stipulation for the match they're going to have is going to be. It's probably going to be a no disqualification match. I mean, come on. You made that kind of obvious. Sammy Guevara with Tay Conti versus Dante Martin with Sky Blue. I'm just going to be honest. I don't, like, outside of Sky Blue being Dante Martin's girlfriend, there was no reason for her to be out here because she did nothing except get a kiss on the cheek by her boyfriend as soon as we went to commercial break. And I watched the Fight TV version because that's how I work. And I was able to see it. And I'm like, oh, good grief. So, yeah. I can just see this now. We're gonna get a mixed tag team match: Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti versus Dante Martin and Sky Blue. It's coming. Don't just trust me. So they had themselves a good match here. This was anything. The first half of this match was anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you, because these guys were just trying to one up each other over and over with those high switch spots, and it was just a thing of beauty. We got a commercial break. And Sammy Guevara's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out of here. He and Tay try to leave. Dante Martin goes and rushes them up. Sends him. Oh, this is before commercial, actually. This is like right before we went to commercial. Sends him off to the side. Goes up to the top of the ramp. Does the Kurt Angle fucking tope, leap off the top of the stage, landing on him. Got more height than Kurt Angle would ever do. And then we went right to commercial break. He goes over. His girlfriend gets on the apron and gives a nice little peck on the cheek, and yeah. So we get back to commercial break. These guys going back and forth and everything. Dante looked like he got injured. And I'm thinking, oh no, not another injury. Because he was hobbling on his knee, even though, hobbling on his one leg over and over. And then when Sammy went for his, he went for the nosedive, which is his double spring backflip. Sammy moved, did his own, and hit the cutter. But instead of laying out flat, Dante split, went forward, but his legs went down, and I think he fucked his knee up. Sammy hit the GTH, 1, 2, 3, and Sammy picked up the win. Now, after the match, Sammy and Tay start beating him up, and he goes to go up top to hit someone. Splash. Sky Blue eventually gets in the ring and gets in front of him, but her and Tay go back and forth. Here comes Anna Jay. She comes out. They beat down on Sky Blue while he starts to beat on him. Out comes Ortiz. Out comes Eddie Kingston. Out comes Ruby Soho. Thankfully, they didn't have to wait for the fucking music. And pretty much it felt like Sky Blue was just there for the post-match stuff, because she just sat there as a cheerleader And honestly, Tay Conti didn't even do anything either. Like, yeah, I'm used to seeing, like, Tay's there and Dante, like, she gets on the apron, Sky would come over, pull her off, they would brawl or something, or they would get in each other's faces. They didn't do any of that stuff. Like, yeah, she distracted Dante, but that was about it, and Sky didn't do anything. So basically, Sky Blue was just out there to be Dante's girlfriend, let everyone know, hey, this is Dante's girlfriend, and then get beat up at the end and saved by Ruby Soho. So out of this, we're probably going to get Ruby Soho and Sky Blue versus Tay and Tay J. So, hey, fine by me. Sanjay Dutt is backstage with Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal about what happened at WrestleMania. Sanjay's like, no, we don't need to talk about that. We need to talk about the best friends. Sanjay's like, man, what the like? They think they're best friends. We're really best friends. The best friends in Orange Cassidy come over is like, dude, we're like 6 feet away. You could say something to our face. And then Chuck was like, yo, our dance card is kind of open for Friday, so you guys out to dance. Of course, Trent's like, he meant wrestle. Now, we know, Sanjay, you don't wrestle anymore because you can't do it anymore. And it's Sanjay Dutt. Oh my god, Sanjay fucking Dutt. Just goes absolutely ballistic. He's like, you know what? Fine, you can have the match. We're gonna have this. It's a 3-on-3 6-man tag match. We're gonna do it. He's like going cock and ballistic, and he's like goes to change. Jay Styles is like, what the hell did I just do? What the hell did I just do? What did I get myself into? I can't do this anymore. It popped me so fucking much and made me laugh so much how animated he get, and then he turns to Jay and he's like, what the hell did I just get myself into? Why didn't either one of you stop me? It is some funny ass shit. It's also kind of funny because Sanjay Dutt, I believe, was on Renee Paquette's or the Unrestricted podcast, and said he has no desire to get back in the ring because that's one hat he doesn't need to do. So he worked the audience thinking he was never going to get back in the ring. Does he wrestle at all? Probably not. He could just stand on the side and have the other two wrestle. Jungle Boy comes out, grabs the mic and says, Christian Cage, you're the biggest pussy I've ever met in my life. Whoa, calm down, Jungle Boy. He says, he's watching him talk a bunch of bullshit about his family. He says, congratulations, you're more relevant than you've ever been in your entire career. And when he returned, Christian ran away. He knows why, because he's so angry. And claims that Cage was strapped for cash, about this battle royal and how petty it was. And it's like, he knows you're strapped for cash because your wife divorced you. And I don't think that's actually true, which it's a nice little ting, but I'm not sure if that's actually true or not. I don't know. Says all the villains with turtlenecks and small pricks, which yeah, that's a funny one. Cage needed a monster, but that monster was his best friend. He was only protected from him. Nobody is going to get his hands on him before him. And Jungle Boy says he can take words or chair shots. Jungle Boy recalls standing 3 years ago when he dug his father's grave, but Cage then appeared backstage and says Luchasaurus made a big mistake as he showed how he could guide him, but he threw it away for the Jungle Boy's lapdog. He claims he ran away from Jungle Boys. He was scared what he would have done to him. He says next time he drapes things, he's happy that he was wearing the jacket, which Jungle Boy was wearing the jacket that Cage draped over him. But next time it's going to be a body bag. He claims Jungle Boy told him all his secrets. And now he's going to prey on his weakness. This is a problem with them having Anna Jay join the Jericho Appreciation Society. Unless her and Jungle Boy broke up, and I don't really care if they have or not because that's their business, not mine, but if they're still a couple, how do you not fucking exploit this? You can't now. She's a heel. He's a heel. You can't have Christian Cage go out there in a match with Anna Jay and try and destroy her being Jungle Boy's girlfriend. It doesn't work as a heel. This is why turning her heel and putting her in the JAS before you did this makes absolutely no sense. They fucked up. They fucked that up. They took something that should be a weakness to Jungle Boy, his girlfriend, and made her a heel, so you can't even have that. Cutler Cam, Young Bucks don't want to hear about it, and then he mentions the trio tournament. He says he could be a third wheel, and they're like, not on your life. They keep walking, they run into the Hangman, they each wish each other happy birthday. Matt says he's been wanting to talk to him, but here comes the Dark Order to ruin the moment. And they walk away. Cutler says that's a little awkward, and they tell him to shut up and cut the camera. So they're clearly teasing Hangman's reuniting with the Young Bucks. Will this happen? And how will this happen? I do not know. Tony Nese and Mark Sterling versus Swerve Strickland. Of course, this match happened because Swerve Strickland being a guy who eliminates people from Battle Royal, so he's got this match. Keith Lee, of course, is banned from ringside. We'll come into that in a little bit. They did mention, and this is something to keep an eye out on, that last time, like a few weeks ago on Dark, during a Josh Woods match, Tony Nese and Mark Sterling were at ringside watching. So they have some interest in Josh Woods. So Sterling tags in early. He gets a little bit cheaps in. He tags back from Tony Nese. It's pretty much a one-on-one match until the end of the match, where Sterling is accidentally tagged in. Tony Nese gets the shit beat out of him by Swerve. He gets thrown outside. Gets the kick to the head, and then the double stomp to the outside. Sterling gets put in, gets the kick to the face. 1, 2, 3. Swerve wins. All of a sudden, as the match ends, we get cut to the back, and there's Keith Lee laid out. Someone's holding his half of the tag team titles. The picture fans up, and it's Josh Woods. Swerve does not see this originally. He's in there celebrating. He looks to the side. He sees it. He sees what's happening. He gets ready to go leave. Attack from behind by Tony Nese, who also holds the tag team title. And it looks like they wanted to go towards Tony Nese and Josh Woods versus Keith and Swerve. No. Well, how long are you going to have FTW be the #1 tag team on your rankings and not give them a title match? Give me a fucking break. This needs to be, like, your rankings, they're making a joke out of the rankings if you go. Now, if you want to have Tony Nese and Josh Woods go and kill a bunch of fucking people for the next 2 months or so and get a bunch of wins, that's fine. But right now, why is FTR still the #1 contenders? Yes, I know they're the Ring of Honor, IWGP, and AAA tag team champions, but you have them set as the #1 contenders. By the time All Out gets here, they better be the ones in line for the title shot. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. House of Black vignette showing us Miro, Malachi Black talks to Miro and tells him that they're both fighting the same fights. It's just they think they have different mentalities, and he wants to cultivate and help bring out the monster inside Miro. Brody King shows up on this, and they show us that him and Malachi Black attacked Darby at the San Diego Comic-Con, and he wants a coffin match with Darby Allin soon. Probably at Quake by the Lake. AEW Women's World Championship, Miyu Yamashita versus Thunder Rosa. This match, of course, is happening because AEW is terrible at booking the women's division, so they had to go to Tokyo Joshi Pro, have Thunder Rosa lose a match with a shitty roll-up, and get yourself a match here. This match fucking sucked. I watched the match from Tokyo Joshi Pro a couple weeks ago in Dark. That match was fucking good. Yamashita, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with her here, but she did not look at all like she did in that match in Tokyo Joshi Pro. Like, did they have her come here and be like, yeah, that's how you wrestle there, but you have to wrestle differently here, because it was clunky, it was all over the place. They didn't have any fucking chemistry tonight compared to what they did in a couple weeks ago. This was bad. Like, they mentioned that she's like a black belt in karate or whatever, and they mentioned for the majority of the match she's not going to that. Why? I don't fucking know. She does eventually hit one of her big devastating kicks to the head and looked like she could have won the match, but she didn't. Fire Thunder Driver, 1, 2, 3, the match ended. This was bad. I'm sorry. Nobody, the crowd was great for this. They supported both women. That's great and all. But the majority of the people who watch this show have no fucking idea who Yamashita is. Yes, I watched Dark Elevation. But a lot of the people who watch these shows on Wednesday and Friday night don't know who the fuck she is, because You didn't do your fucking job and promote her. You didn't have her come here after she beat Thunder Rosa and have a match against somebody. Have a match against somebody else. You had 2 weeks. You could have had her out here having 2 matches, beating 2 people, and then you could have said at Fight for the Fallen, here's your title match. But no, you didn't do that. And then you have Kenny Omega. She said something about... She had a post on social media about people wondering who the hell she is and everything. And Kenny Omega had to pipe in and say that she needs to ignore the know-it-all fans. The people who are complaining are the people who don't know who the fuck they are, because Kenny Omega, you didn't do your fucking job and actually promote the woman. If you actually would have did your fucking job and actually promoted this woman and built this match up, instead of having the match in Tokyo Joshi Pro and then a couple weeks later having this match with no build whatsoever and barely any talk of it, why the fuck should anybody care? And in the end, they shit the bed. This match was not good. This is probably the weakest match that Thunder Rosa has had in her title reign since Nyla Rose at Battle of the Belts. What was it, 2? Something like that. This was bad. They deserve better. I don't know if Yamashita was nervous. I mean, the Japan is having that restrictions where you can't cheer to the crowd. You can't cheer. You can only clap and like stomp your feet. You can't cheer yet, which is fucking stupid, but it is the rules. I can't tell them what they can and cannot do. So maybe coming here and actually hearing this crowd reaction was a little bit more than she would expect, being restricted from hearing that in Japan for the last, 2 years. I don't know. But this was not a good match. Go watch their match on Dark from a few weeks ago. It was much better than this. Next time you want to go out and get somebody who nobody around here knows, here's a good idea. Bring them here, have them wrestle a bit, and fucking promote them. It's not that fucking hard. Bryan Danielson vs. Daniel Garcia. Your main event. This is Danielson's first match back. This match started off hard hitting. Danielson was just like daring this guy. He attacked him immediately. He was daring him to hit him. He hit him back harder. And then Daniel Garcia hit him with a drop kick, and they decided, let's do a concussion angle. Let's have him go. Remember back, if anybody remember, back in the 90s when Shawn Michaels got beat up by those guys and had him come back to wrestle Owen Hart, and then in that match he fell. He did his pose and then he just fell forward in a big concussion angle. Let's do that. Let's have him go out, drop, and be all disoriented. Have Daniel Garcia hit him with a DDT on the floor, which was exposed, and just have majority of this match Daniel Garcia beating up a wounded, possibly concussed Bryan Danielson. You know, the guy who has a history of concussions, the guy who's been on the shelf because of concussion, and somebody that when the fans see him acting like that are like, oh my god, did he have another concussion? That was the best way to book this match. Now, granted, when they got done with that shit and Danielson finally got his bearings, and quote unquote, the match kicked up and the match was a hard-hitting affair. Now, Danielson was getting hot. He was going hot. He was getting everything. He was going to go out there. He had Garcia down and out on the outside. He threw him back in. He grows the crawl back in. This arm, this black sleeved arm comes up and grabs Danielson. And Danielson's trying to kick it away, and he finally does, allowing Daniel Garcia to hit a power driver onto Danielson. Then Garcia gets up, puts him in the sharpshooter, yanks it back. Danielson will not submit. And he passes out. And Garcia picks up the win. Then we see Jake Hager show up out of nowhere. So it was Jake Hager holding his arm, holding his leg. And the show went off the air. They didn't attack Danielson anymore. They didn't beat him up anymore, which is surprising. But it was funny because they raised Daniel Garcia's head, and he was walking backwards and almost fell on his ass, tripping over Danielson's leg. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, very good show tonight. The women's match was, of course, the weakest part of the show. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I don't know if it was Yamashita being nervous. She was on a Dark taping about 2 months ago. She teamed up with somebody to take on Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir, if I'm correct. They lost, obviously. But it's like, and again, not everybody watches Dark. Not everybody watches Dark Elevation. You needed to do a better job. Next time you want to bring someone from Tokyo Joshi Pro that isn't somebody you already have here, do a better fucking job. It's not that fucking hard. But that's your AEW Fight for the Fallen review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the France Club, find me on twitch.tv/France Club, and find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.